Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lamide and I'm your host for Adulting is the Ghetto, and I'm here with another beautiful guest,
Marianne.
Yes, and today we're going to be speaking about her experience and thinking globally and what she's done up until now.
The future is now.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And with every show, I start with an icebreaker. And yeah, I literally told her 10 minutes ago that we're going to do this, but that's how it rolls. So if we're through, what would you be?
I think a pineapple.
Okay. Why?
I just really love pineapple.
Yeah, same. I said mango because I really like mangoes and I think they're like sweet, they're juicy, they're nice.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, pineapples. I like pineapples too, and especially smoothies as well.
Yeah,
quite nice. Okay, and if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I know.
I'm a traveler, so I really like to explore different countries. So picking a place to live in is going to be quite difficult.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose, I think probably Singapore or South Korea.
Ooh,
probably.
Yes,
Yeah.
those are good choices. I love K-dramas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to go to Itaewon. I watched Itaewon Castle once and I've been saying I need to go there when I visit. Not just Seoul, Itaewon as well.
Yeah.
And lastly, what was the best advice you've ever been given?
Oh, that's a tough
I
one.
know.
That's a very
I
tough
was
one.
like, I don't even know how I'm going to answer that if it was to me.
I think there's two recent ones that I've been given that I think were very important here at Oxford. One was leaders are shapers, not takers. I think that really changed my perspective in things. And the second was you don't have to paint within the lines once you've already proved that you can paint inside the lines. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Once you've already done it, you don't need to continue.
Yeah, and it's, I think the moral of the story is that you can paint outside the lines, meaning that you can get out of your comfort zone, and that's okay. And I think that's just a beautiful way of looking at things.
That's really good. Thank you. We're gonna now get into like the main juice of it. So, who are you? How do you introduce yourself?
So I've already said my name.
Yes.
My name is Maryam. I'm from the UAE, born and raised in Dubai, currently live in Abu Dhabi. I did, more professionally, I did a bachelor's degree in economics at Sorbonne University, and now doing a master in public policy with you.
Yes.
At the University of Oxford.
Crazy. Love it.
So yeah.
And how, in terms of like your personality and character, how would you describe that as well?
I think I could, it's a very tough question too, but I would say I'm quite bubbly, I think. I could be serious at sometimes and a bit more professional, but I think that other side does come out in certain occasions. So.
Yeah. When we first met, because it was during induction and everyone was talking about, oh, what did you do before this? And I literally came up to you, I was like, can we speak about something, not about that? And I was like, what's your favorite show? And then we bonded over shows, and that's how I was like, yes, I found my person. So thank you again for joining us. And how would you describe your adulting journey in one word?
I think I would say serendipitous.
Ooh,
yes.
Expand. Why?
I think my journey was very unexpected, although I'm the type of person that is a planner, but things don't go as planned, and often everything is unexpected, and I think my journey was very unexpected, but at the same time very fortunate, and I'm super grateful for that. And I think going through things that are very different than what I expected really required me to have an open mind, if that makes sense, and be very, recognize when there's an opportunity and be willing to take that opportunity. So I think because I've faced different challenges throughout life, I really learned how to do that and how to adapt to different situations. And I think that really helps with my personal growth, and it was very, very fulfilling, I would say.
I love that. Thank you. And what was your experience of growing up in UAE? How do you think it shaped you and prepared you for adulting? If it did or if it didn't, what was your whole experience about growing up there?
I think it was very beautiful. Again, very fulfilling. Living in the UAE, I would say, is super exciting because there's a lot of different nationalities and different cultures. So you really find, I think, the beauty in differences, which is something that's very beautiful. It's very nice to really get to know people at a different level, learn different cultures. So that's something that really helped shape the way I think, and really take a global perspective and not just one that's very narrow and absolute. And then also, I think the UAE is very, it's grounded in community values and family values. And I always say that in the UAE, everyone is an extended family member, which is something that is super beautiful. So it really makes you understand how important it is to make everyone feel at home and that everyone is part of your family. And then also beyond that, I think one of the most important things that shaped my journey was not just the environment within the UAE, the very supportive environment. I think it's also my parents, because they really taught me to have that, right balance between being grounded and motivated, but also being humbly curious, being very grateful, for the small things in life. And that's one of the most important things I learned growing up. And that, I think when I grew up and went through these different challenges, which I think we will discuss soon, I think life is, it's a string, I would say, of uncalculated risks. Things don't go as planned. And I think when you're trying to pursue your goals, thinking through things as uncalculated risks is a different way in viewing life. And I think that's how my parents taught me to view things, and I think that really shaped my adulting journey.
Shout out to your parents, man. They did a great job, honestly. They did. So you studied your undergrad in a Parisian university in Abu Dhabi. Why did you choose to do that? And what did you take from that experience? You had to learn French, all of that. How was it? Talk me through it.
So I think one of the main reasons why I chose a French university when I had never spoken French before was because I really do enjoy a challenge and a risk, and that element of uncertainty. And looking back, I think all of my life I was very focused on sustainability, renewable energy. Back in school, all the options I would take were very science focused: chemistry, bio, physics.
I tried to do that, it didn't work out well for me.
I genuinely thought that I would be a renewable energy engineer. I had that in mind, either that or a doctor. But then I think things shifted when I grew up. As I went on to high school, I had this really amazing teacher. She taught me economics, and it really shifted my mindset. And that's when I decided I want to take a different path. And when I started weighing my options on which universities I could go to that offer a degree in economics, I decided to choose Sorbonne because it had that extra layer of challenge, which was the language. So at first, what I did was, because I hadn't spoken French, I had to do a year of French, so an intensive year of French, where you basically learn the basics. And that year was very interesting, I would say, because you start thinking in a different language, you start experiencing, it was very different. But then that was like gearing up to the experience. And then when the experience started was when you actually study your bachelor's in economics in French. That was a whole different experience, because the first year you would feel it was a bit more conversational, getting the basics, you're starting from scratch, from zero. But then once you start the bachelor's degree, it's like you're learning the technical words, the theories, you're starting to take law courses in French, econometrics in French. It was academically rigorous, I would say, but at the same time, it was very, very challenging. My first year, because I was new to the language, you're immersed in an environment where there's so many different people from different backgrounds, different nationalities, and then some of them are francophone, so they basically speak French as their mother tongue, and then there are some people who have never spoken French, and that's also a challenge where you're put in an environment where you're expected to speak in class and to engage in a language where you've just learned. So I remember I would go home and translate everything to English, learn it in English, and then translate it back to French, and then try to grasp it. So the first year was I think, very challenging. But then things get easier with time once you practice. So I would say it was very challenging, but it was also very rewarding because I think once you go through this experience, you learn that a language is not just, I think, a communication tool. It's not just a medium of thought. It's how you connect with people. It's being able to connect on a different level that you've never thought of connecting. So really learning about someone's culture and learning about their experience, but also being able to have that sort of connection where you speak their mother tongue is a different level of experience. I think that for me it was just a really, really beautiful experience, and I learned so much. And I think that's the beauty of just learning a language and immersing yourself in an experience that you never thought you would put yourself through.
Now looking back at what you know, would you do it again?
I think because I went through it, yes.
Okay.
I think before I did decide to go ahead with it, I was doubting myself. I was thinking, can I really go through something like this? Can I really learn a language and then do my bachelor's in that language? And then also that added layer of a challenge where you're studying a major that could be seen as quite difficult. So I did doubt myself a lot, I'm not gonna lie. But I think one thing I learned again from my parents is that when you set your mind to something, and if you really want to do something, you do it.
Yes.
You go for it.
Yes.
You take that risk. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't,
you try.
You change another path, you do something else. But knowing, having that what if is not something that I wanted to experience growing up. So I really wanted to do it, and then so that when I grow up I wouldn't say, oh, what if I did that? What if I did this?
Only, well, that's amazing. That's so cool. I'm like, I really want to learn Spanish, and my goal one day is to like live in a Spanish-speaking country to just like again like immerse myself. And I'm like, even with our Spanish-speaking colleagues, I'm trying to get engaged. But how you guys speak so fast, but I'm gonna get there.
I was trying to do that too, because back in uni we were forced to take 2 other languages. So like when I'm in Oxford, I'm thinking, okay, this is a perfect opportunity to communicate with people where I've learned the language, but I haven't really practiced it in the years following when I graduated. So I think.
How many languages do you speak? Just out of curiosity.
Fluently, I would say Arabic, English, and French. But then I did learn a bit of Spanish and Mandarin. I haven't practiced in a while, so I wouldn't say I'm intermediate or fluent at all. But yeah.
It's amazing. 5 languages. Here I am, like just about with English sometimes, I'm just about Yoruba sometimes.
Never too late.
It's not. That's one thing I always have to remind myself. And okay, so now we're in Oxford, we're doing our masters, crazy. How have you found like settling? Because obviously you came through UAE, the cultures are pretty different. How have you found settling? Like, do you get homesick? Like, how is the whole experience been so far?
So right now, having gone through, how many months have we gone through now?
It's 6,
7 months.
Yes, we're like halfway through. It's crazy.
I think I'm quite settled.
Yeah, I think so.
At first, it was very different, as you mentioned. I think being away from home and family is something that was very tough in the beginning. But I think community here is very strong as well, and that's something I really value back home. So seeing how the cohort is very a tight-knit cohort, and I think coming here I was trying to find a piece of home in everyone, which I feel like I did. I was trying to find home away from home, and I think everyone makes you feel like your family, you know, and I think that's something that was very important coming here and experiencing. So I did feel homesick, but that factor of having 144 students who make you feel like your family and you're part of something big is extraordinary, and I think that's something that really helped with homesickness.
I think like for me anyways, it's mind-blowing, because I was saying to someone how in other spaces it's easy for me to like feel misunderstood, or just like there are not many people like me, but here like we're all so different, but yet still that understanding and that like uniqueness is so valued and treasured here, and the consistency of people showing up for each other is beautiful. Because like, guys, I didn't know you guys 6 months ago, but now imagine my life without you. No, I don't want to do that. So that's it's actually is beautiful. And just hearing the stories and this, it's just like I'm always going to remember this, so yeah, shout out to Oxford for the people it brings. And what next after your masters? Don't worry, no pressure, because me too. I don't know what next, but if you have any thoughts to share.
So I think I'm definitely going to go back to the UAE at some point, because I feel like one thing I really had set my mind to when I came here was that once I get this degree, I really want to apply it back home and give back in some form or some way. How that's going to manifest, who knows? I think that's something I'm still grappling with and trying to figure out. But that's fine. I think for me, like going through all of these experiences, as I mentioned, like nothing went as planned.
Yeah.
And I enjoy not knowing what's going to happen next and just leaving it as it is, and just really, living every day, day by day, just experiencing every day to the fullest.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do more of. So give me tips as well. And so I have some friends who either moved to UAE or are thinking of moving to UAE, or even just in general, like moving from UAE to the UK, moving to a different country, and they might have never left home before. Like, what tips do you have for them? How can we help them like prepare, essentially?
I think one of the biggest tips would be is to first find out what you want to do, because I feel like there's something for everyone back home, and just finding people within the UAE who live there, who know the UAE very well, is something that's really exciting, because they can actually really guide you, and I feel like everyone would be hopefully welcoming and trying to help someone who wants to move to the UAE. So I think that's an aspect that is, I think, crucial. Just finding someone who lives in the UAE, who knows the UAE, to guide someone who wants to move there. But I think if anyone is actually, scared to move away from home or is worried about doing something like that, we're here at Oxford, and I think building that muscle of resilience is so important. And knowing that you want to do something, whether it's moving to the UAE or doing a master's degree in a different country or learning another language, I think if you know you're passionate about something, you have to do it. And I think doing something requires a choice, and this choice requires you showing up. And you really can't fabricate motivation. You really have to internalize it, and you have to foster it. And you can't wait for motivation to show up, because if you're waiting, you won't show up. So I think just take that step and take that risk and really do what you want to do, because no one else is going to do it for you. So I think that's something that I would say really pushed me to do, to come to Oxford and to pursue this degree, to learn another language. Just showing up is very important.
It's beautiful. What a good way to end it. Do you have any final words, any questions for me? I think that was a great... Say that again.
How do you feel?
About
everything.
Oxford.
Settling in.
I think for me it's a bit different, because I live like maybe 2 hours away. So I can go home back to Essex when I need to. But I think that idea of being present, that idea of showing up is like, if you're here, be here. So don't like go every weekend and like still try to live your life there. No, if you're here, be here, because if you don't commit yourself wholeheartedly and fully to the experience, it's going to be gone before you know it. And I don't want to feel like, oh, if only I did this, or if only I went there, or if only I did this. And I think also the idea of like making sure I'm presenting myself in the way I know I am. So before, I could be like, oh, because I'm in Oxford, I must do this and show that I deserve to be here and everything. And so I'm like, no, I'm here because I deserve it. So now figuring out what I want out of the experience, meeting the people, developing the connections, sharing stories, like creating platforms and communities where people can be themselves and also let people know about their lives that we might not otherwise know, is what I want out of the situation. So I think for me, Oxford has been like, it's just like transformative in the people I meet. Like no 2 days are the same. I literally said like yesterday I had no plans, but it was one of the best days, because my phone died, I woke up, came to school, went to the gym. It was just chaotic, but in such a beautiful way that I was just like, wow, I'm happy. So
Yeah, I think that's very beautiful, being yourself and really knowing what you want. And I think your authenticity is your best anchor, so keep thinking that way.
Thank you. So thank you guys for watching. I've been Lamide, you've been
Marianne, and
you've been watching Adulting's the Ghetto. You know what to do, like, share and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.